Is it harder to say I'm sorry or to lose a friend forever? For the king of late-night opinions, the answer might just break your heart. We all know Bill Maher. He's the guy who says what everyone else is thinking but is too afraid to whisper. He's the new rules guy, the anti-woke warrior, the comedian who has built an entire empire on being the smartest, sharpest, and most unapologetic voice in the room. For decades, Maher's brand has been simple: never back down, never apologize. And honestly, we love him for it. In a world of PR scripted apologies and carefully curated personas, Bill's raw honesty feels like a breath of fresh air. But recently, that armor has started to show a crack. Beneath the marijuana smoke and the club random banter, there's a quiet shadow hanging over the comedian's legacy, a friendship lost not to politics or religion, but to simple, stubborn silence. It's the story of the apology Bill Maher never gave and the best friend he lost because of it. And if we're being honest, it's a lesson that hits a little too close to home for all of us. The comment that started the silence, if you've been following the drama, you know exactly who we're talking about: Howard Stern. For years, Bill and Howard were the titans of their respective worlds. They were the bad boys of broadcasting, two guys who fought censorship, battled the FCC, and clawed their way to the top by being brutally honest. They weren't just peers, they were friends. They had history. But friendships, especially between two alpha personalities, are fragile things. The heartbreak started, as so many modern feuds do, on a podcast. On an episode of his show Club Random, Bill made a comment about Howard's marriage. It wasn't a political jab, it was personal. He criticized Howard for gushing too much about his wife, Beth, on air. Maher suggested that Howard's public displays of affection were somehow unfair to his first wife. Could we just not gush about the person while the other person can still hear it? Bill asked, swirling his drink, likely thinking he was just making a cynical, observational point about relationships. But to Howard Stern, this wasn't comedy, it was a betrayal. The email that went unanswered. Here is where the story shifts from celebrity gossip to a deeply human tragedy. Howard didn't explode on Twitter. He didn't go to the press immediately. Instead, he did something surprisingly vulnerable. He sent Bill an email. Howard wrote to his old friend, effectively asking, "Why? Why would you say that? Give me a call. Let's talk about this man to man." It was an olive branch. It was an opportunity for Bill to say, "Hey, you know what? I was just riffing. I didn't mean to hurt you. My bad." 2 words, my bad. That's all it would have taken to save a decades-long bond. But Bill Maher never replied. He ghosted him. And that silence speaks louder than any monologue Bill has ever delivered on HBO. Why is "I'm sorry" the hardest sentence to say? We have to ask ourselves, why couldn't he do it? Bill Maher is a man who can debate senators, stare down cancel culture, and host live TV without breaking a sweat. Yet, the simple act of picking up the phone and admitting he crossed a line with a friend proved too terrifying. Maybe it's ego. When you've spent 40 years being right for a living, admitting you're wrong feels like a death sentence. Maybe it's fear. Vulnerability is scary. It requires us to drop the shield and admit that we aren't the cruel, detached observer we pretend to be. It forces us to admit that we care. Or maybe it's just the tragic stubbornness of men who were taught that feelings are messy and apologies are weak. In a recent interview with Anna Kasparian in December 2025, Bill admitted, "I know people who handle things." He talked about how money can fix problems, but not emotional ones. You can see it in his eyes, can't you? The realization that you can't write a check to fix a broken heart. You can't hire a lawyer to negotiate a friendship back into existence. The ghost in the Club Random studio. There is a profound irony in Bill's current chapter. He sits in his Club Random studio, a room designed to look like a cool, intimate basement hangout, and invites celebrities to come drink and smoke and vibe with him. He talks constantly about the importance of conversation, of connection, of not taking life too seriously. But every time he laughs with a new guest, the ghost of Howard Stern is sitting in the empty chair. It's the unspoken apology. It hangs in the air. We watch Bill, and we see a man who has everything: success, money, freedom, but who might be learning the hard way that being right isn't worth being alone. Because here's the truth: you can win the argument. You can make the clever point. You can defend your right to say whatever you want about your friend's marriage. But if you win the argument and lose the friend, what have you actually won? Don't be like Bill. This isn't just about two rich famous guys fighting, it's about us. How many of us have a Bill Maher regret of our own? The friend we stopped talking to because of a stupid misunderstanding. The family member we haven't called because we're waiting for them to apologize first. The text message we typed out, stared at, and then deleted because our pride got in the way. Bill Maher's silence is a cautionary tale. It reminds us that time is running out. We think we have forever to fix things. We think, oh, I'll call them next year. I'll fix it when things settle down. But friendships don't pause, they wither. And eventually, the silence becomes permanent. The happy ending is still possible, for you. We don't know if Bill will ever send that text. We don't know if he'll ever put down the drink, look into the camera, and say, "Howard, I messed up. I miss you." But you can. If this story made you think of someone, a name that popped into your head, a face you haven't seen in a while, take this as your sign. Don't let your biggest regret be a text you never sent. Don't let your ego be the reason you're lonely. Pick up the phone, send the text, say the words. Because life is too short for unspoken apologies, and unlike a late-night show, you don't always get a rerun.